I am 78 years old. I'm a doctor. For over 5 decades, I walked into hospitals, clinics, and emergency rooms. I held dying hands. I delivered babies into this world. I told families their loved ones would be okay, and sometimes I had to tell them they would not. I saved lives, many lives, but there is one life I did not save, my own. And now, at 78, with more years behind me than ahead of me, I sit in a chair that used to belong to my father, a man I barely knew because I was always too busy. And I think about everything I missed. Not the surgeries, not the cases, not the promotions or the certificates on my wall. I think about a Tuesday afternoon in October. My daughter was 7 years old. She had a school play. She played a small tree. One line, one moment. She had practiced that one line for 2 weeks in the hallway of our home. I was not there. I was saving someone else's child. I thought I had time. I told myself I would make it up to her. I told myself there would be other plays, other moments, other Tuesdays. I was wrong. There were no other moments like that one. That tree with one line. That 7-year-old girl looking into the audience for a face that was not there. She is 44 now. She is kind. She forgave me a long time ago, but I have not forgiven myself, and I do not think I ever will. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you this because you are doing the same thing right now. Maybe not in a hospital, maybe not in medicine, maybe you are in an office, maybe you are building a business, maybe you are chasing a number in a bank account that keeps moving further away the closer you get. And you are telling yourself the same thing I told myself for 50 years. Later. I will do it later, when things slow down. When I retire, when the kids are older, when I have more money, when this project is done. Listen to me very carefully. Later never came for me. It will not come for you either. I spent my entire career studying the human body. I know exactly how it works. I know when it is failing. I know the signs. I know the stages. I know how quickly things can change. But no medical school in the world teaches you what I am about to tell you. No textbook, no professor, no amount of clinical experience prepares you for the moment you realize, truly realize, that your life was happening while you were planning for it. I had a patient once, 61 years old, strong man, healthy all his life. He came in for a routine check. He told me he was planning to retire in 3 years. He had a list, a whole list of things he was going to do. Travel, fish, spend time with his grandchildren. He died 11 days later, not from the examination, from something we did not see coming. His list was still in his pocket. I kept that list for 20 years. I still have it, because that list looked exactly like mine. And I am still here, but I wasted my time the same way he never got the chance to. There is a difference between being alive and actually living. I learned that difference too late. You still have time to learn it now. But only if you stop doing what I did. I grew up in a small house with 4 brothers. We did not have much. My father worked with his hands. My mother worked with everything else. But they had one dream, that one of their sons would become a doctor. That son was me. I remember the day I got accepted into medical school. My mother cried. My father shook my hand, the only time I ever remember him doing that. It was the proudest moment of my life up to that point. I told myself I was doing it for them. But the truth is, I loved the idea of being important. I loved the idea of walking into a room and having people trust me completely. I loved the idea of mattering. And medicine gave me all of that. In my first year of practice, I worked 90 hours a week, sometimes more. I told myself it was dedication. I told myself it was passion. I wore my exhaustion like a badge. I wore it proudly. My colleagues respected me. My patients needed me. My hospital valued me. I thought that was enough. I met my wife during my residency. Her name was Mara. She was a nurse. She had the kind of patience that I mistook for acceptance. She never complained loudly. She expressed her pain quietly. In small moments, I was always too distracted to notice. A dinner she cooked that went cold because I called to say I would be late. Our anniversary she stopped mentioning after the 3rd year. A side of the bed that started feeling more and more like a separate life. We were married for 41 years. For at least 30 of them, we were strangers sharing a home. I thought I had time to fix it. I thought retirement would fix it. I thought that one long vacation would somehow repair what 30 years of absence had broken. I was wrong. Mara passed away 6 years ago, quietly, the way she did everything. And I realized that I had spent 41 years next to someone I never fully showed up for. People at the funeral told me what a good man I was, what a dedicated doctor, how many lives I had saved. I stood there and I felt nothing but hollow, because the one person who had waited for me, quietly, patiently, painfully, was gone, and I had run out of time to be the husband she deserved. On the outside, my life looked perfect. A respected career, a beautiful family, a comfortable home, awards, recognition. But inside that life were cracks I never stopped to look at. My son grew up watching me choose work over him so many times that eventually he stopped inviting me to things. Not out of anger, just out of habit, the habit of not expecting me. My daughter learned early that her emotional needs were something she would have to carry alone. They are good people, both of them. They became good people despite my absence, not because of my presence. And that is perhaps the thing that hurts the most. They did not need me to be a great doctor. They needed me to be a present father. And I gave them everything, everything except that. I thought success meant providing. I thought love meant working hard so they could have more than I did. But a child does not lie awake at night wishing their parent was more successful. They lie awake wishing their parent was simply there. I know that now. I knew it then too, somewhere deep inside. I just thought I had time. It happened on a Wednesday morning. Nothing dramatic, no emergency, no crisis. I was sitting in my office between patients. I had a cup of tea that had gone cold. I had a stack of files on my desk. I had 17 missed calls on my phone from the previous week that I had not returned, most of them from my children. And something inside me just stopped. Not my heart, not my body, something else. I sat there in that chair, the same chair I had sat in for over 30 years. And for the first time in my life, I could not make myself stand up. Not because I was sick, because I suddenly could not remember why I was doing any of it. I looked around that office, the certificates on the wall, the photographs with colleagues, the small trophy from a medical conference in 1987, all of it just sitting there collecting dust, meaning nothing. And I thought, who is this room for? It was not for my children. They had stopped visiting my office years ago. It was not for Mara. She was gone. It was not even for me anymore. It was just there, a collection of proof that I had existed, that I had worked, that I had been useful. But proof to whom? That was the question that broke me open. I called my son that evening. He answered on the third ring, surprised. We spoke for 11 minutes. I know because I watched the timer on my phone the entire time. 11 minutes. That was the longest conversation we had shared in almost 2 years. And when I hung up, I sat in the dark for a long time. I thought about my father. How he had worked his whole life providing for us and died 2 years into retirement, before he ever had the chance to rest. Before he ever had the chance to simply be a person outside of his labor. I had promised myself I would not become him, but I had become something worse. My father at least came home tired. He sat at the dinner table. He was physically present even when he was emotionally distant. I was not even that. I had chosen absence so completely that my family had restructured their lives around it. They had filled the space where I should have been with other things, other people, other routines, other ways of feeling loved. They had healed around my absence the way skin heals around a wound, and I had mistaken their healing for proof that they were fine. That night I opened a drawer in my desk and I found a card my daughter had made me when she was 9 years old. Crayon drawings, uneven letters. It said, "I love you, Daddy. I hope you come home soon." I had been home when she gave me that card. Read that again. I had been home, and she still wrote, "I hope you come home soon." Because home is not a building. Home is a presence. Home is attention. Home is someone who looks at you like you are the most important thing in the room. And I had never been that. I had been useful. I had been responsible. I had been respected. But I had not been home. Not really, not truly. Not in the way that a child needs a parent to be home. That card destroyed something in me, and then slowly it began to rebuild something too. Because for the first time in 50 years, I stopped lying to myself. Let me tell you something they never taught me in medical school. The human body can survive almost anything. Starvation, trauma, disease, unimaginable pain. The body fights, it adapts, It finds a way, but the human soul, the part of you that needs to be seen, to be loved, to belong to something real, that part does not fight the same way. That part just quietly gives up. And the terrifying thing is, you do not notice when it happens. You are too busy, too focused, too convinced that what you are building is worth what you are sacrificing. I was a doctor for 52 years. I understood the body better than most people on this earth. But I did not understand this one simple truth until I was sitting alone in a dark office, holding a crayon drawing from a child who is now a grown woman with children of her own. Here is the truth. You are not too busy. You are confused about what matters. I was confused. For 52 years, I was deeply, completely confused. I believed that providing was the same as loving. I was wrong. I believed that success was the same as a life well lived. I was wrong. I believed that the people who loved me would always be there, patient and waiting, no matter how long I made them wait. I was wrong. I believed that I would feel fulfilled when I reached the next level, the next achievement, the next milestone. I was wrong about that most of all, because there is always a next level, there is always another milestone. The finish line keeps moving, and while you are chasing it, the people who love you are standing still, waiting for you to turn around. Eventually, they stop waiting, not because they stopped loving you, but because they had to survive your absence too. Think about what you are building right now, not your career, not your reputation, not your savings account. Think about the actual texture of your days. Think about the last time you sat with someone you love and were completely present. No phone, no distraction, no part of your mind running through tomorrow's schedule. When was that? If you have to think hard to remember, that is your answer. That is the crack in your life that you are not looking at. I spent 52 years treating patients who came to me broken, physically broken. And in almost every case, not all, but almost every case, underneath the physical illness, there was an emotional one. Loneliness, regret, a life that had not turned out the way they imagined. I would treat the body and send them home. But the real sickness, I never touched it, because I was carrying it myself. Here is what I know now at 78 that I did not know at 38 or 48 or 58. Time is not a resource you can manage. It is a current, and it moves in one direction only. You can be efficient with your money. You can be strategic with your career. You can optimize almost everything in your life, but you cannot get a Tuesday in October back. You cannot sit with a person who is gone and tell them what you should have told them when they were here. You cannot walk back into a moment that has already closed. I thought I had time. I thought the important things could wait. I thought love was patient enough to survive neglect indefinitely. I was wrong. I was so completely irreversibly wrong. And the worst part is, I knew it. Somewhere inside, beneath the busyness and the ambition and the exhaustion, I always knew it. I just kept choosing not to look. Do not make that choice. Please, I want to talk to you directly now, not as a doctor, not as an old man with regrets, as someone who has stood at the end of a long road and looked back at it clearly, maybe for the first time. You are living inside a story you are telling yourself, a story that says the sacrifice is worth it, that the people who love you understand, that you will slow down soon, that this season of your life is temporary and the next one will be different. I told myself that story for 52 years. It was never true. There is no next season. There is only this one. This morning, this evening, this Sunday that you are letting pass while you answer emails or scroll through your phone or think about everything you need to do tomorrow. This is the season, right now. This is it. And I need you to feel that, not just understand it. Feel it in your body, in your chest, in the part of you that already knows I am right. Because you do know. That is what frightens you. You already know that you are missing it. You already feel the quiet distance growing between you and the people you love most. You already sense that something important is slipping by. You are just hoping that feeling will wait for you. It will not. I have watched hundreds of people die. I held their hands in their final moments. I watched the light leave their eyes. I sat with families in the worst moments of their lives. And I can tell you, with every year of experience I carry, that in those final moments, no one thinks about their achievements. No one. They think about a face, a voice, a moment they wish they could return to. They think about the time they had and how they spent it. They think about whether the people they loved truly knew it. Not because they were told, but because they felt it. Consistently, daily, in small, ordinary, irreplaceable moments. That is the only thing that matters at the end. The only thing, not what you built, not what you earned, not what your name meant to the world. Whether the people closest to you felt chosen by you every day, not occasionally. Not when it was convenient, every single day. I did not do that. I chose everything else first and left the people I loved with whatever remained. And what remained was never enough. Do not do what I did. Please, put the phone down tonight. Sit with your child. Look at your partner like you looked at them in the beginning. Call the person you have been meaning to call for months. Not tomorrow, tonight. Because tomorrow is the lie I lived inside for half a century. Tomorrow never arrived the way I imagined it would. It just became today. And today I am 78, sitting in a quiet house with certificates on a wall that no longer mean anything to me, wishing I could go back to one ordinary Tuesday and simply be present. Just present, that is all. Not extraordinary, not successful, not impressive, just there, just real, just human, just someone who made the people they loved feel like they were enough reason to stop. You are not out of time yet, but you are closer than you think. And the life you actually want is not waiting for you at the finish line. It is happening right now. In the next room, go.